This week in the League of Legends, we have two brand new characters. We have a great new patch. And, of course, to top it along, we have a plethora of riveting new skins on the horizon. All this and more on the Smezda Gaming web shop.
This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis, and we are here today to talk about the League of Legends. It's an ongoing show where we talk a little bit about everyone's favorite MOBA-style battle game, and, God, I missed looking at your face.
Aw, I missed looking at your face.
That's weird, and I don't like it.
Oh. Anyways.
So our new characters, Xayah and Rakan.
So this is interesting because they announced two characters that will be coming out at the same time, and they are the first ever co-op characters. They function better if another character is in the same area as the other. So if you want to start going down the list, and we can talk about their abilities.
This is as opposed to some characters who do worse when they're in the same area. Like, for example, if you're wearing sunglasses, you take less damage from Leona. But in this case, they do better.
They get sunglasses.
Ooh, so the first one up is Xayah. She is an AD carry, or I'm sorry, a marksman, as they're called now.
Marksman.
With a nice setup. Her passive is Clean Cuts. After using an ability, her next 3 basic attacks will hit all targets along their path and leave a feather for 6 seconds. The main target of her empowered attack takes full damage from on hits. Fully other targets take 50% damage. And she can store up to 5 of these empowered attacks. And additionally, they have this ability called Lover's Leap where they can recall together. It's kind of a cute little thing. Her first basic ability is Double Daggers. She'll throw 2 knives, dealing AD scaling physical damage, and they will also leave 2 feathers. Targets hit after the first will take half damage. Her next basic ability is Deadly Plunge. She creates a storm of blades for 4 seconds that grants her some attack speed and causes her basic attacks to strike an additional time for a sliver of the damage. If Deadly Plunge strikes an enemy champion, she'll gain a big chunk of movement speed for a short amount of time. And if Rakan is nearby, he will also gain the effects of Deadly Plumage, which includes both the attack speed, the ability to strike through, and the move speed if she hits an enemy character. Blade Caller is her final basic ability. She calls all of her feathers back to her, and she will deal physical scaling damage, plus increased damage based on her critical strike. And hitting an enemy with 3 feathers will root them for 1 second. Minions only take half damage from this ability, though. And her ultimate is Feather Storm. She'll leap into the air and become untargetable, and she'll rain down daggers which deal a good chunk of damage and leave behind a line of feathers. She can move while in the air. So, yeah, kind of an interesting character. Having an AD with sort of an untargetable setup is very nice. The only character with something even close to that is Vayne.
Yeah, and that's a stealth.
That can be countered. But the big part here is, looks like she's going to have a lot of zone control, and the ability to sort of deal damage in a line, and then deal more damage in a line, and then blow things up in a line. Kind of makes her seem like a really good aggressive pusher, as well as a character that's going to be good in team fights if she can be unaccosted. And thankfully her ultimate sort of lets her do that. You know, you can lead with a couple attacks, get some feathers down, and then immediately transition into an ultimate to drop more feathers, and then draw all your feathers back to you for a big, big chunk of damage.
Now, this is the AD carry I really enjoy, where the entry level into this character seems fairly low. She's going to be able to do a lot of damage right off the bat. She has a lot of really fun abilities, and then her scaling on how a player can play her is just a very, very high skill cap, where positioning feathers, positioning, your partner, your other abilities, and then using your ultimate and using the feathers in a way that can definitely deal some damage has a high thing, and I think this is going to be one of those AD carries that a lot of people are going to pick up and play and use in high competitive, and I can't wait to see that because she looks super fun.
The next character on our docket is Rakan. He was mentioned in a couple of abilities. His passive, basically after a good chunk of time, no matter if he's taken damage or not, he'll gain a shield that scales with his ability power. Whenever he attacks or uses spells on enemy champions, he will reduce the cooldown of this. And just the same as with Xayah, they can recall together if they so desire. Glimming Quill is his Q. He will fling a magic feather that deals AP scaling magic damage to the first enemy hit. If a feather hits an enemy champion or an epic monster, Rakan will restore health to himself and nearby allies for 3 seconds when he touches them. I'm curious actually if this leaves a feather behind. It doesn't specify, but if it did and Xayah could pull that, that'd be pretty bonkers.
Yeah, I don't see any effects relating to feathers on his docket, but that'd be really interesting if he had something like that.
Indeed. Grand Entrance is next. He will dash to a location, and upon arrival, he'll spiral into the air, dealing AP scaling magic damage, and knock enemies up for 1 second. So this is sort of a danger dive. Blade Dance is his final basic ability. He will fly to an allied champion and grant them a AP scaling shield for 3 seconds. This can be recast at no cost within 5 seconds, and I assume you dash them once again and shield them once again. Battle Dance's range will be significantly increased when cast on Xayah. And finally, his ultimate, the Quickening. The Quickness. He will gain 50% move speed for 4 seconds, and when he touches enemies, he will deal AP scaling magic damage and charm them for a very short duration. The first enemy charmed grants Rakan decaying 150% movement speed burst. Wow, this is very good. He sort of has this setup where you sort of run into people like he's, a bumper cars character. So, I don't know. I kind of like it, but it feels like, he's sort of this. He scales really well with AP. Like he's got good scales, it looks like. But you're gonna have to build him tanky because you have to run into danger a lot. So he looks kind of waifish and thin, but you're gonna build him turbo tank. So
Alexa, stop.
I don't know.
Well, I really like the fact that this guy can be either a jungle or a support, and there's a lot of things in his kit that will work both ways. He has great engage.
He looks like he goes both ways.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, he kind of does, actually. He's very handsome in that matter. But yeah, he has abilities that will work really well in the jungle. He has a lot of, mitigation tools with his shield. He has, 2 crowd control effects. He has movement speed increase. And he has essentially a massive crowd engage that can be really, really helpful for encounters. And the particle effects for this guy, the animations, the spell abilities, I can't wait to see if there's a bundle to pick these 2 characters up, because that will be the first time I've paid RP for a character in a long time. And I'm actually interested in playing these 2 characters, one or the other, at any time, because those are my 2 main roles, is AD carry and support. So shoot, I'm definitely interested to see how it goes. Now, I haven't heard their interactions or their voice acting yet, but I can definitely hope that they're very kind of snarky and, very kind of rogue-like characters where they're just
they're revolutionaries.
Oh, they're okay. So yeah, they're definitely gonna have some attitude to them. So hopefully they pique my interest, because the last character we got that had voice acting, he was kind of a tool. Galio. Their skins are really awesome too. We have the Cosmic Dawn Rankin, where he has this bright white outfit with blue and purple, and he has a lot of galaxy themed skins like other galaxy characters.
I think Xayah got the better cosmic skin, to be honest.
Yeah, the blue and the whites and the purple, and just all of the way it affects her wings and her abilities. I think it's the better of the 2. Both of them look great on their own. But yeah, I'm excited for these characters. It just depends on how well they do alone as well as being together in a group is the question.
Right. Well, we'll have to see when they come out. We'll have a full rating on release.
going into some new things here, along with the release of those two characters, they released some new lore for those interested. We're just going to briefly talk about it. It is talking about their race and a whole section of Runeterra that hasn't been discovered yet, with all sorts of new creatures. And they've also kind of hinted at that Ari comes from the same race of people, so she is not the same unique character. You can kind of see that with the charm ability that one of the characters has. So if you're interested in a little bit of lore tidbit that isn't like a widespread dump of information, check it out. It's very interesting, has some pretty art to it, and let us know what you think. I'm definitely interested to see what other people think of that. We also have new skins. First one is Conqueror Karma. Along with the last Conqueror skin, this is for the MSI finals, and if you purchase this skin for $9.75, it will be a legacy skin, and it will contribute some money to the MSI Finals prize pool. Very, very cool skin. Karma hasn't gotten one in a decent amount of time. I think the last one was her... what was it? The one that made her look like she was melted steel. Like,
oh, right. The, whatever. The evil one.
Right.
I don't know. It's like Vanguard or something.
Something like that. But this one's really cool. It has special particle effects, a new basing animation. I love like the gold and the red. All of her particle effects are definitely, the same with a lot of red, bright colors. And I think Karma definitely needed a skin like this, since all of her other ones were kind of event skins or legacy skins that kind of just got reworked for her new model.
There you have it, folks.
Next up is another Yi skin, because, Master Yi needs more skins. Yay. But this one is awesome. It's a Cosmic Blade Master Yi. It's 1350 RP, and it is white on blue with a Vorpal, like what would you call it? Cosmic sword?
I think so, yeah.
There's some cool effects when he does his meditation. He has like circling like stars around him. When he does his strike, any target he hits will leave a line looking like a constellation. That is a really cool effect. And when he ultimates, he looks like a comet. So that is a really gorgeous skin. Too bad it is on Master Yi, a character I just don't play out of principle. We have a lot of new summer icons for purchase. These are for the MSI Finals, so if there's a team you're rooting for, you can definitely pick those up. There are also emotes. There are 13 of them, so if you are an emote person, definitely check it out. And finally, some Hextech crafting for those who actually care about Hextech crafting. I've stopped caring. It is a clunky system, and I'm not a big fan of it, so...
Well, there you have it, folks. Our next thing on the docket is patch 7.7. This is kind of a smaller patch, but it brought with it some really interesting changes. The first one to my boy, Amumu!
Amumu!
His passive got changed. This is pretty bonkers for him. Went from reducing flat magic resistance to increasing the amount of magic resistance his targets take. I'm sorry, the magic damage they take, up to 15%. It's crazy.
And it turns it into true damage, too.
Yes. It's crazy.
It's so good.
Despair got changed, too. Mana cost, slight increase. However, it now ticks every half second instead of every 1 second. However, the damage is the same, so it's not like ticking for 30 every half second. It's doing 15-15 to make that 30. Despair is now refreshed on all enemies hit. So you still have to apply it with an auto attack, but then it refreshes with Despair. And Curse of the Sad Mummy will apply his passive to all enemies after the damage is dealt. So that whole jump in and AoE route just got a lot better.
Yep, definitely a great engage tool.
Alistair's passive, Triumphant Roar, now heals all nearby allies instead of just one. And his trample effect now is changed just a little bit. It has a lot more damage as you go on later in the game. And the cooldown was also cut pretty significantly. So you're going to be doing a lot more trampling, and as an aside, a lot more healing.
This is definitely a good change for Alistair. He's one of those characters that has always been kind of a clutch pick for competitive play. And I feel since they moved his heal to a passive and his trample to be his E, he kind of fell off the wayside for being a decent healer. But now that he can heal all enemies instead of a random ally that is closest to him, I think that this is going to give him more viability.
Yeah, I don't know. Alistair's just been garbage since he stopped dealing bonus damage to towers.
Yeah, definitely.
Just kidding.
He sucks.
Bard got changed too. You now have a really large list of effects for his meeps. So he'll howl a maximum of 9 meeps if you collect enough chimes. And the tiers went from 150 total to 105 for unique effects. But after 105, it just gains bonus damage. So, yeah. Bard's gonna slow you a lot earlier. So, deal with it, as that garbage character would say.
As Bard, I've never gotten to more than 100 chimes in a game, and that was like a 50-minute game.
Well, now you're gonna get that turbo slow up at 100 rather than having to go all the way up.
Turbo slow.
Yes, very good.
Camille, she got some changes to her. Camille will no longer heal for up to 10% of her maximum health when tactical sweep outer half deals damage to minions or monsters. This is going to be a huge hit to her early game sustain with her W, and that's going to definitely have an impact on her. And her Hex Tech Ultimatum, the duration went from 4 seconds at all ranks to 2, 3.25, and then 4 seconds. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot of nerfs to Camille early game.
Mm-hmm. Galio
Rip.
got changed. His passive has slightly less damage going throughout the game, and his Winds of War has a increased AP ratio for the initial Wind Blast. However, the Tornado Zone now does less of the target's maximum health when it explodes.
Graves, his Quick Draw, the True Grit no longer grants magic resist per stack, and no magic resist at max stacks. So, a lot of sustain ability against mages has just been removed off of his E.
Yay!
Yay!
J4, the base shield on Golden Aegis increased at higher ranks and was reduced at lower ranks. However, the bonus shield now scales with J4's maximum health. So, very good for tanky J4, not so great for sort of the skirmisher J4. Jinx, her Flame Chomper's cooldown was significantly reduced at later ranks. Kassadin, his Force Pulse E ability had its cooldown reduced to 5 seconds, and Rift Walk got an increase in its ability power ratio, which is very good because they nerfed the hell out of Kassadin last year, and I guess they're deciding it's time to bring him back up.
Yep. Ketriana.
Yeah, that's right. It is Ketriana.
Shenpo, the cooldown has been increased at all ranks, except for her last rank, so, good. She can't jump around as much.
Shenpo's bonkers anyway. It gets refreshed no matter what. Who cares? Lux, Final Spark, if it kills an enemy champion, she will have 10 to 50% of its remaining cooldown refreshed. As if Lux didn't benefit from cooldown reduction enough.
I play CD Lux whenever I get a chance to play her. I know that AP Lux is better, but cooldown Lux having a 30-second ult constantly, much fun.
15-second ult now.
It's gonna just be like pew 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 pew. I call her Raving Lux because she's raving mad with power.
Nunu, they reduced his base health. They reduced his health regeneration. However, now when you get a Visionary stack, it grants a bonus rank to the next spell you cast, which is awesome. Consume will now deal 160 more true damage and give you 50 more healing. Blood Boil will now give you 1% more movement speed, 5% more attack speed. Ice Blast will give you 40 more damage and 5% more movement speed slow. And Absolute Zero will give you 250 more damage.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure how this affects their cooldowns because they do lose cooldown duration as you go up, but I'm sure it's unaffected. But all the same, pretty cool change for Nunu. They've been trying with him a lot. They're not sure what's going to stick. And I hope this does, because this is actually kind of clever.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun, and definitely you have to keep your eye
It'll
out
help
for...
a lot with ganks. Getting a better Ice Blast just for lane. Oh my god.
And that increased movement speed with his Blood Boil, putting it onto 2 targets, and then just zipping down the lane.
1% is not that much.
Well, no, it's 1% up to 13% movement speed at rank 6 of the passive.
Yeah, but as you go up, it only gains 1% per rank, so... I'd rather have the regular Blood Boil and then have that extra 5% slow on Ice Blast.
Rengar, Savagery changes to his damage per strike. It went down at all levels, and the ratio also went down, so they're nerfing his Q. Rumble, the recharge time on his electric harpoon is now 6 seconds from 5 seconds. Kind of a small little change to him. Shaco.
Shaco on his backo?
On his backo. Backstabbo, the ability powder ratio is now 0.4. This is new to the ability. And attack damage ratio is now 1.3 total attack damage at all levels instead of scaling through 1 through level 11. Deceive, his Q, no longer has a base damage ability to it, and his ability ratio no longer is tied to his Q. And his cooldown is now 16 to 14 seconds on each rank.
This is actually really good for Shaco. Having to use Deceive to make use of an AP Shaco ability instead of just having it on Backstab is good. They still nerfed the hell out of AP Shaco, but this is a small push in the right direction, so I guess that's good. Talon also got changed. Noxian Diplomacy does less damage at early ranks. And Volibear, the last guy. Thunderclaws now bounces 8 times from 4. However, there's a small delay in between bounces, but yeah, you hit one side of a minion wave, it'll bounce all the way through and hit the guy on the other side. It's really funny.
Syndra got some bug fixes, of course, because, that character has always been ridden with bugs since the dawn of time, apparently. Some cool stuff coming to rotating game modes. All Random is coming to the Rift. Mix it up with All Random Summoner's Rift from 4.7 to 4.11. And so the next couple of weeks, they are doing rotating game modes. There has also been talk about getting that as a permanent queue function at a later time, and I hope so, because the game modes are sometimes more fun than playing regular Summoner's Rift for me. So if you could put that in full-time, that would be great.
Yeah. And that's really it, isn't it? I mean, we got Godfist Lee Sin, and we got Dreadnought Darius, but that's a craftable-only skin.
Yeah, that's about it. We got some new wards, and we have new splash arts for Karma, which look really pretty. So,
very good.
Other news. April Fool's Day this year kind of sucked.
April Fool's Day for a lot of things kind of sucked, except for War Thunder. Whoo, boy.
What did they do for War Thunder this year?
They added modern tanks and helicopters.
They always have some pretty good ones.
War Thunder goes all out. That's crazy.
League just kind of didn't care this year. They just had it so when you played random queues, your opponent's name would just show up as bot names for the character they're playing, and then you got a summoner icon for it. And that's kind of lame. Yeah, usually they do something that's pretty funny. Last year was the bobbleheads, and you had Earth, and I don't know if they're just told not to put effort into it, but yeah.
Ugh.
Yep. It's sad.
All right, well, there you have it, folks. We are running a little long, so we're going to skip over questions this week, but normally we try to answer a couple. If you have a question for us about the show, about League of Legends, about gaming in general, about what we're up to, please post it in the comment section below. Send it to our email, spestigaming@gmail.com, or, I don't know, just check out our website, Twitter, or Facebook page, all linked to the information down below. We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/spestigaming. You can do that to get exclusive features, bonus content, and more. It's a great way to let us know you care about the show and you want specific, tailored content. It's very helpful. Otherwise, we got anything else going on?
Nope. Unfortunately, due to work and stuff, I haven't been able to do much editing or recording, but I'm going to try to get back into it as soon as I get some time.
God bless him.
This
is Axis.
And Water Elemental.
And I can confirm that Water Elemental is not trying.
Hey! I love you.
Now play that up a little more.
Hi!
There you go. Leave all this in.
Okay. Yeah, good editing. Totally not scripted. Classic.
We